Thank you for joining us today on What's of Prince William here at Studio 1A in Dale City, Virginia. Today we have Kraig Butrum from the American Wartime Museum. He's the CEO of the museum. Thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you for inviting me back. This was my 1-year anniversary. So.
And that's great. Well, we're glad to have you. I mean, we really like the American Wartime Museum and everything that you guys do. It's been about a year, so what kind of things have changed, or what are you working on just in general for the American Wartime Museum?
Well, the good news, it stopped raining. That's the good news, because for about 8 months we couldn't do anything on the property. It was just mud. And we learned the hard way at last year's tank farm open house in Nokesville. It rained Sunday. We had to cancel Sunday's day. And those poor trucks were in there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Tanks, military vehicles, even the fire department's big, truck was stuck in the mud. So we learned our lesson. So we weren't going to do anything primarily on the property until it was dry, and because we didn't want to pack it down hard. The grading of the property. This is really interesting. Most of the fill dirt's coming from Washington D.C. itself. So as the city of Washington digs up for new construction, they have to put the dirt somewhere. So they're coming out here and giving it to us, and so
that's great.
Yeah, so it's a win-win for everybody. So we're packing the dirt. We're putting in storm drains. We have 3 5-foot in diameter storm drains that have to go across the entire 70-acre property, and so it's a slow process, very slow. And so in tandem, what we're doing is I've recommended to the board, and they approved an idea of building a robust online presence, and we're calling it our Connecting Our Children to America campaign. And it'll be an area where children and families can go to, can learn about the values of citizenship, duty, honor, patriotism, and sadly sacrifice too. But it'll all be interactive. It's an idea now, but we're putting it together, and we hope to have that up and running so we can build our community. So when the museum's ready, we'll have people to come to it.
So with your time here, like I said, it's been about a year.
Mm-hmm.
You've been able to meet a lot of people, board members, community members, people who support the museum. What's that been like, working with everybody?
Well, it's been really a welcoming opportunity for me, and at the same time there's a lot of excitement about what's going to be at the site in Dale City. There is a little angst. People want to see the museum built now, and it's been talked about for several years. And so again, we want to do it thoughtfully, and we want to do it in phases. So I think the first phase of the museum that people will actually be able to go out to and visit will be 1 or 2 Quonset huts, as we all know from World War II and all the film and bygone eras of the Army installations. We'll have a tank restoration facility, and we'll also have a tank area for displaying tanks as well. And that'll be the first phase. We'll have reenactors and historians and the volunteers tell the story in that, and we will have leveled out the area for the landscapes of war and keep building as we get more donors to support us.
And so you do have an event coming up this year.
We do.
So
Yeah.
Tell us about the event.
Well, the event is very almost folklore. It started probably 30 years ago with our founding benefactor and chairman, Allan. He has this incredible collection of tanks and military vehicles. And once a year, he takes them out at his farm and lets people look at them, and they drive around in them, and we have demonstrations. It's become, it grew in the last 10 years, and we're going to make this a great one. It's September 7th and September 8th this year in Nokesville. People can go to our website, www.NMAW, that's National Museum of Americans in Wartime.org. And they can register. We encourage people to register because we just need to know how many people might be showing up.
Because it is a free event.
It is a free event, yeah. We gratefully accept donations, and but we want people to just come out and enjoy them. And there's very few opportunities for people to actually touch, feel, and climb on a tank.
So this is a very family-friendly event. So bring the kids.
Bring your kids, bring your grandparents. One area that's special is our Voices of Freedom, our mobile recording studio where we conduct oral histories of service members, regardless of age or rank or war or conflict they were in. And we also interview the families that supported them during that time. So the veterans are interviewed, and then the families sit in the green room to watch the interviews. And sometimes the families have never heard these stories. These are just things that are private and personal and very important to the person, but they kind of just kept them behind and maybe never shared those stories.
Well, we really appreciate you being on our show today. Thank you very much for everything that you and your organization does. Looking forward to it growing over the years.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you one exciting thing that you will see at this open house. For 30 years, Allan Kors has been trying to find an engine, a Cummins engine, for his Sherman tank.
Okay.
And they found it.
Oh, that's great.
And they're putting it in this week. So you will see a fully restored, this was a tank that was from after World War II. It was given to the French. The French then gave it to the Israeli army. And so it's been passed along. It's got a wonderful history and a lot of battle scars to show it. But it'll be up and running, so you'll have a good time to see it.
Oh, can't wait to see it.
Great.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Look forward to all of you being there.
And thank you for joining us on What's Up, Prince William.